Hi everyone, welcome back to the Amber Serpent. My name is Gulveg, and it is once again that time of the week where we seek the guidance of the runes and get some information on how best to move forward this week. It's a very interesting week. We have a new moon in Scorpio right after Samhain, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, whatever it is that you might call it. This is considered to be an in-between time for the ancient folks. Samhain literally means summer's end. And so this is a time in which we're in between the seasons. It's not summer anymore, but winter has not yet taken its hold. And so we're in this time where it said that it is the best time to work with your ancestors, work with spirit guides, do divination if you do that kind of thing. This is a good time to do all of that. So I'm really interested to see what the runes might have to say about this next week. Let's take a look. So for those of you who are new to Rune Reading Wednesday, I always invite those who are watching to join me in the intention. Energy doesn't know time or space. So I do believe that you setting the intention with me, even though it's after the recording, does make a difference. So let's set the intention. What is it that we need to know or do the most over the next week? You know what? Actually, I'm going to change. I'm going to change that intention. How might we best leverage the new moon in Scorpio to best serve our heart's intentions over the next week? That feels more poignant. All right, Rune Pool number 1. And there was another one that kind of came out, and that will be like a secondary one. All right, we have a lot of them for Rune Pool number 1. Like, really, Rune Reading Wednesday could be made just out of just this, easily. So we have Elhaz, we have the Shaman rune. This is one of the most protective of all of the runes. We have Rhytho, which is the cart. It's big movement. We have Tiwaz, which is it's about self-sacrifice for the greater good. It's also about directions. It's associated with the North Pole. So direction, judgment, justice. And then we have two very interesting runes after all of this. We have Nauthiz, which is the need fire. We'll get into that in a second. And the ice rune, Isa. Pause, meditation, rest. And then, which is very interesting, is this rune that kind of halfway came out of the bag, Yera. And this is about karma and cycles. It's the harvest, which is also very interesting because this is around the same time that we play with that concept of harvest. For our ancestors, it was literal. For us in modern day, unless we are growing food, harvest can be anything as far as what have we sowed from, or what have we reaped from the little seeds that we sowed. All right, Rune Pool number 2. Okay. Also very interesting. There keeps runes keep kind of like halfway coming out of the bag. And I feel like that's significant. To me, reading runes is about reading energy. So how the runes present themselves is also very important. We have the tribe, community. Fehu. Honestly, folks, we haven't seen this one in a little while. So, welcome back, Fehu, because this is luck. It's wealth. It's all the good things. Welcome back. Welcome, friend. And we have communication, Anzus, and gift giving. It's also about reciprocation, a gift for a gift. And the one that kind of halfway came out was Lagus, A lot of different interpretations for Lagus. This can be like the reward that one reaps once they have gone through some trials. So it's kind of like the hero's journey in a way. So let's take a look here. And there's one more rune pull, even though we already have a lot of runes to read. So, but I always pull 3 times. Same intention. Nice. We have Dagas, which is enlightenment, clarity, clear thinking, intuition, and Sowilo, success. So let's just take a moment and let's tap into how all of these energies are talking to one another. Okay, so right off the bat, the very first thing that comes to my mind here in regards to the need fire and Isa that came up in the very first rune pool that we had. The need fire. This one has been coming up a lot in our rune readings, and it's actually no surprise that it's coming up a lot because we have had so many kind of heavy astrological shifts, especially lately. I mean, the last couple of years have been kind of heavy lifting energetically anyway, but in the last couple of months especially, it has been kind of challenging. So the need fire is the tension or the challenge that occurs that spawns us into action. So it's kind of that same mantra that says that invention or necessity is the mother of all invention. It's kind of that type of thing. Human beings, we're seemingly almost hardwired that when we're comfortable, we're not really evolving. We don't typically grow all that much when we're comfortable and on the couch. So that necessity is what spawns us into action. And it's very much closely related to, in my opinion, the energy of Mars, because Mars has that aspect of that fiery energy that motivates us to take some sort of action. And Isa, ironically, also came up with that rune. And Isa is the ice rune. It usually means like a situation is on hold or is paused, or it can mean that we are needing to rest and meditate. And so in relationship to the other 3 runes that came up with these two, with Nauthiz and Isa, we had the Shaman's rune, which is also one of the strongest protection rune. And the fact that this is coming up right out of the gate, very first rune that came out of the bag, indicates to me that there might be a lot of us feeling lately like we're kind of vulnerable, where we're maybe not really sure exactly where we're moving towards or to, or even what it is that should come with us. Because when the cart comes up, I always think about the fact that it's like the whole enchilada. It's big movement. So we might have to make some decisions on what is going to be transitioning with us and what things need to be let go. And that, my friends, is the energy of Tiwaz, Tyr's rune. Self-sacrifice for the greater good. So the rune that came up kind of halfway came out of the bag which is very interesting because we were just talking about how this time is this in-between time. So in that in-between time is this harvest, and it's about completing one cycle and beginning a new one. So in more than one way, it wouldn't surprise me if those who are watching this video are also in kind of this in-between, feeling almost like you're floating in midair, where you're not really where you once were. You maybe have really created some endings in your life, let some things go, and yet you haven't really completely arrived at what comes next. So it's like jumping from one stone across a river to another stone, where you have this in-between place where you're not really exactly sure where your footing is yet. And it's actually in that very place that the ancients saw as being the most magical. And it's where the energy of Scorpio can really help us flourish in that area where can otherwise produce a lot of anxiety. So what the harvest rune is saying is that now is the time to pause, that there might be this itchiness because there might be a lot of things that we still need to do. The need fire is kind of this itchy energy. It's literally is signified by two sticks running together that produce the bonfire. So don't let the itchiness that to just do something to just do something, like the action for just action's sake, that might be a waste of energy. Instead, what the runes are saying is that to slow down and to really get clear in that pause on what it is, where is it that you would like to go. When I do a lot of readings, oftentimes folks might pose a question as though, what is it that's fated to happen? But when we take a look at the ancient beliefs of the Northern Scandinavian people, their view of fate, karma, and destiny, though it was very interesting. It was very complex. It wasn't that we're completely destined to live a story out that was already predetermined, nor was it that we're completely just destined to have free will. It was a combination of the two, that we do have influence. We do have influence despite the fact that there's certain things that may be fated to happen. So with that being said, let's not take the two extremes here where it's like, screw it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Nor do we need to try to gut our way through everything and just kind of fight this battle to do whatever it is that we think that we need to do. What it is, I feel that Tiwaz is saying that needs to be let go is perhaps a compulsion to try to over control things. And that really the work this week is about deciding really what it is that you want and how to prioritize where your energy goes. And knowing that in that decision and in that pause, even if there might feel like there's a lot of confusion and a lot of lack of clarity this week, that you are actually divinely protected. It's all going to be okay. So that brings us to the next rune pull that we pulled. So what I'm feeling that I'm looking at here is almost like a timeline. I feel like I'm looking at what we just talked about is going to be like these next 3 days from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then we go into kind of like that second part of the week. And the second part of the week may give us some opportunity to have maybe some fun with some friends. We might find some connection, like good conversation, reciprocation. Maybe for some of us, this might even be something that might be related to something that could even help our business prospects, with Fehu being wealth and luck. Or it could just be a lifting of the spirits. When our spirit is lifted, it's so much easier to be lucky. When we're feeling like it's down in the dumps, it's a lot harder to attract the good things, right? So towards the end of the week, into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, Sunday, and maybe even into Monday, this might be a really fun weekend for some folks. Might be a good one. And then the rune that kind of halfway came out again, that in-between rune, was a reward at the end of the journey. That there is that towards Monday, I feel like there might be like this kind of energy, like, something will feel like it's either clicked or we might have clarity on what comes next. But this will most easily come if we take the time during the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to pause. To pause and get really clear on what it is that our heart is truly guiding us towards, what it is that we truly want. It's so easy to kind of over adult and get into this like weighing all the pros and cons and should I do this or should I do that? Should I make this decision? And over analyzing all of the different options and the different decisions that we might have to make. And what the runes are saying is this is a really good week to take maybe a little bit of a different approach, to kind of sink into your own intuition and to really ask, what is it that you really want? Not based on the shoulds or based on other people's opinions or even maybe your own expectations of yourself, but what is it that you really truly want? And what are some of the baby steps that you might be able to take towards that Monday, Tuesday, and into next Wednesday that you might be able to take in order to make those incremental steps towards truly what your heart desires? And with Tiwaz, what is it are there things that need to go in order to make space for that new beginning and for those intentions? And the last two runes that came up with this in relationship to this are really, really good. Success and clarity, and heightened intuition, inner knowing, and the dawn of a new day. Like, give it. Like, bring it. Dagas and Sowilo. And if you are struggling with clarity, one thing that you might want to play with is you can use this as you can draw Dagas on your journal. You can draw it on yourself. You can keep it visible to you. And it said that it is supposed to help with bringing that clarity. And that is something that I've done in the past, and I do feel that it helps too. So just to kind of wrap up, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be more about rest and pause and spend some time in meditation, journaling to get to the clarity on where it is that you really want to go towards. And what might end up happening over the weekend is we might actually have a little bit of fun, and we might meet new people, expand our community and or our network, and have a sense of some sort of fresh energy, some sort of freshness that will be reintroduced into our sphere of influence or our life in general, like a rejuvenation. And that towards Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, that if we do take that time to pause, we will have given ourselves enough time to slow down so that our blessings can catch up to us. And that will bring us closer to what it is that we truly want and give us clarity on what it is that we can take right actions at the right time. Oh, all the good things. So, thank you so much for joining me here. This Friday, I am having a reading event at Everything Just Rocks in Tempe, Arizona from noon to 6. If it is something that you would like to do as far as getting a reading in person at my event rate and you're in the Phoenix area, drop me a line and I'll be glad to reserve you a time spot. Otherwise, if you're not in the Phoenix area, if you're not available on Friday, I do appointments over the phone, Zoom, or FaceTime as well if you're needing a one-on-one kind of session to get clarity over any kind of situation that you might be facing. Thank you all so much for joining me here, and I look forward to seeing you back here next Wednesday for Rune Reading Wednesday. Thanks. Bye.